Spartans! What is your profession? This is Sparta!
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another stream, another live. So, everybody, do me a favor, hit a one button if you can hear me. It will be scientific. Is that even a word? Anyway, so do me a favor, hit the like, share, and subscribe. And we're at it with another stream. This one is going to be interesting conversation. For some reason, my alarms are going off. I don't know why. I feel like there's an earthquake coming through. Oh, it's just Dave doing jumping jacks in the background.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
What's good, brother? How are you, mama, tonight?
This is David, aka Black David, aka Blair Bear Paul. Everybody doing out there? I
All
hope
right,
everybody.
brother. I wanted you on this for a specific reason. All right. So far everything sounds fine on my side. Let me double check something really fast.
Yeah, because we
Yeah,
restarted my
we have
computer
audio.
before
Oh,
I got on
perfect.
this.
So,
So
I wanted you on for a specific reason. You specifically more than anybody. The reason I wanted you on because you're a father, a grandfather, a great grandfather, and great 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 grandfather. Did I miss anything?
that would be our pain. He was next door to Moses.
Oh, you guys are close to the same age.
I ain't not close. I am 46. Our pain a couple of centuries.
God damn that you shoot. Man, unless the guy, if you're gonna fall, shots at him, at least be here to defend himself.
Yeah, but I'm 46. Keep people telling me, "Oh, you're young. 46, you're young." I'm like, really? Maybe when I shave everything off and to go clean, close to bald headed, then I start to look younger than my age.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
maybe I'll just
So,
relocate. Maybe I'll relocate to Bali. I can relax more. Then that'll be better.
so David, you have raised what 4 kids so far? You have, right? Or is it
Two with
8?
my two with my Or I have one stepdaughter. My daughter got three kids already. That make it three grandkids. That's about it.
Okay, so is your opinion as a father, and what is your experience of raising and a grandfather?
I would say
You know
this
what?
to
I'll give you
be.
the floor for a second so you can go over it.
I would say this to be able to have the opportunity and the joy to watch the birth of my son first and watch the birth of my daughter. I think that would I have the most purest joy and peace at the same time. To witness their birth, it let me understand what life really is. Because there was a time that I was a walking time bomb. But to be a father, it will give you a purpose. It gave me a reason to live. It gave me a reason to work hard, harder than I ever did. But I learned a lesson to be consistent as a parent. I think that's something a lot of parents don't take the time out to look at. But I can fully remember what it's like to be a kid. I can fully remember what it's like without being the child under my parents' rule. So I told myself I would do better with my kids. I wanted to make sure that my kids surpass me. I will constantly be consistent to make sure I instill wisdom in my children. Yes, I got a son and I got a daughter, but I enjoyed every moment that I have to watch them grow, to see the mistake they make, to sit them down and have them understand the mistake and show them correction, give them point of view that they can follow through in case of if they ever come across that again. But it has become more challenging than it is because technically speaking, we in an era whereby right is wrong, wrong is right. Yes is no, and no is yes. A society whereby this stupid idiot go to on the top while those who have wisdom and understanding stay at the bottom. Like you are paid a whole lot of money to be a complete idiot. But to be a man of insights and wisdom, you pay so little. Trying to help my kid navigate this well can be a real challenge. To have a daughter who come in almost a mirror image of where I think of rationalize. I wish I have the money to put in a private school so she can excel even further. These days she tell me school is boring to her because there's no competition. She got that from my dad. Love to be challenged. So imagine being a parent watching your kids showcase certain trait that you have in yourself when you're growing up. You got to ask yourself the question, how kind of I saw it when I was little? Now I'm able to help correct my kids so they don't have to repeat the same mistake I make. But knowing that this world will be much harder than my world, I can't help not be concerned because they're my children. They're my blood and my flesh. I take great pride and joy in being a father. I think that's the only blood I can say that keep me going. If it's anything else, it wouldn't even matter to me. But also being a granddad, watching my grandkids growing, that brings extra joy. Yes, I do have one knucklehead granddaughter, but I want her to be better, but she had to learn how to take correction. Same way I do with my kid, man. Especially my daughter, I tell you, you're a daddy little princess, but it doesn't allow you. to be disrespectful. It doesn't allow you to step out of line. Same thing I applied to my granddaughter. If you can't take correction now, when you gonna take correction? Got two other grandsons where they're cool to play around with, cool to be around. Sometimes they want to challenge me. I gotta let them know your grandpa is not that kind of person. I think that's maybe that's my strong point. I love being a parent or a grandparent. Be able to pass down wisdom and insight. Something I never had done to me because my parent dropped the ball way too many times. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Back to the host.
There we go. Click the wrong button. um, those were powerful words, David. But let me ask you a question. If you had to raise your son, let's say you had your first kid right now,
Hmm.
what would you do different now than then?
It's funny that you ask that question because that's the question I ask myself every single day, looking at the way I live. Because I'll be real with you, no one can never say they're prepared to be a father.
I agree with that.
But if I was given a second chance, I will not waste my time throughout my 20s dating. This is why I would say the level of hatred I have for the word dating is worse than a nuclear bomb. I do not like that word. It's a waste of time. I would suggest I would work on building a financial foundation so that if I had my son, I can invest in programs that will help his intellect to that next level so he can have more opportunity that I have. I would prefer my kid to go to the school that I know they will do well. They will exceed well. They're able to explore their dream or their idea, what they think is best for them. Without going to a school, they feel like there's no challenge for them. I'm not gonna lie. I hate that I don't have the resource to put them where they would do better and they can feel free and not feel like, oh, it's boring or I don't like that. That was anchor on my heart a lot. I take parenting too serious. I'm always trying to be as consistent as possible, like a broken record player. I don't try to gaslight my kids or fabricate or make up shit that most parents would do. I refuse to do that. And there's the reason behind I grew up through betrayal. I can say I was the son in a household where both parents betrayed me, lied on me, fabricate, put things on my neck as if I'm the one responsible. And I see what they did to me, so I told myself I would never do that to my kids. That's where my source of motivation was. I want to be a better parent to my kids each and every day. So yeah, if I had a second chance, I would do things different. I would have done things much earlier. I would never got into dating.
What
I
would you
would
get
have
into then?
focused on building myself, building my character, building my financial foundation. And I hate to say this, Anton was correct. Shout out to Anton Daniel. I wish I was just focused on that alone and let that right person come along with me. Then I'm searching through the trash that pretend to be gold when nothing but they're not gold, it's much like copper. It's funny, I came from a country that was giving old school wisdom. The moment I came back here, I chose to drop and believe the bullshit that was given to me in this country. So I'll say it again. If I were able to do it over again, I'll be working on me, building my foundation, building my mental foundation, my financial foundation, my educative foundation. I could kill less and they make fun of me being a nerd. So what? I'm a black nerd and I should have focused on my goals, on my dream. If I didn't
But
find the one that fit me, oh well, find the right person to have good kids with. Not no trash out here.
nerds not a bad thing now these days, David. Nerds is actually the new cool.
I know it's a cool thing, but during my time, it was the bad thing.
Yeah, I know.
Being a,
Same here.
being a, being a nerd mean no swagger. Now the fact that they're ass kissing nerds now, after all the verbal, mental, and physical abuse that nerds have I ever went through,
Oh, I remember. Trust me, too well.
so, so what they did, it created a dark side of me. Yet I am a black nerd, but the dark side of me is not a black nerd. The dark side of me is more of a black beast. It's a good thing I didn't get into the UFC because there's a time I wanted to use the UFC as the perfect outlet to relieve every single unfiltered rage I had in me. So I can let it all out and not feel responsible if I knock someone out to the inch of their well-being. Put the imagery fate on the people who I hated the most, from family to people in school to teachers who say things that will not make. I would have the joy and the luxury of just going to tunnel vision. Even though you're my opponent, but it's not your fate I'm looking at. It's the fate of the person I want to obliterate and find joy in doing that. That's the dark side of me.
Hmm.
And I've told people before, I keep to myself a lot of time because I grow in a level, I don't trust people for so long, which is why I take parenting so seriously. It's like it's an way it can keep me focused, and keep me channeled, keep me humble. And I'm not a prideful person, so I'm trying to teach my kid not to be prideful because when you're too prideful, you make so much stupid mistake. You're not really to have self awareness to check yourself to make sure you know what I shouldn't go on down if I try to do better than this.
So, what do you think is the perfect talent for a parent now these days that need to raise a child in this generation, in this 2024, in this new decade, in this what I call shit show?
I would say mental endurance.
Okay, explain.
We do I say mental endurance. I'm not gonna lie. I'm that individual who will say I'm allergic to stupid ass people, and I'm serious about it. Throughout my 20s, I kept to myself for a reason because when stupid people trigger me, when things can come to my mind, it knocked their head off their shoulders. That's who I was. In my 20s, I'm not going to lie. I want people to understand this. I got a background in Shito karate. It's one of the five original karate from Japan. And I got so far getting into my blue belt, but my stepmom stopped me from getting my brown belt because of some stupid prom night bullshit which I could care less about.
You went with your boyfriend?
No, this is happening in Africa. I was so into my art and my craft. I could care less about prom. I could care less about dating. I was zoned in. I'm a black nerd. I didn't care less about popularity. I didn't care less about being popular. I could care less about it. That's
Hmm.
who I were. If I'm not popular, I could care less. I didn't want to master what I want to master. That was my focus. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit jealous of Mandrell. He's every transition from karate to boxing to jiu-jitsu. I wanted to master multiple art myself too, but I have too many people in my way, people who I could never trust, people who never care about my progress. So watching how my parent did me dirty remind me never do that to my kids at all. So in a very twisted way, I just thank my parents for betraying me, for
Do you really think
backstabbing me.
they did that on purpose, or do you think they tried to do the best thing for you at the time?
They were doing the best for my siblings. They were never doing the best for me.
Hmm.
What I needed help for, my sibling got it. I was literally on my own, so I told myself, I wasn't gonna do that to my kids. So I developed a workaholic attitude whereby I don't give myself no break. I haven't taken vacation over 27 years, so all I care about is making sure my kids have the right opportunity where needed. If they need a book, then I'll buy it, I'll pay for it. If they need whatever part they want to get, I'll make sure I get to it. That was my focus. So in a way, they taught me a valuable lesson. Don't be like them.
Hmm.
Don't be a two-faced hypocrite like them. That's how I felt. So this is why I take my parenting's mindset so serious. I just want to make sure they do better than me. I said it before. My goal as a father is let my children surpass me. When they surpass me, I have accomplished my goal. I'm not like some of these shitty ass parents. They got an issue that children want to surpass them, so they want to destroy their kid's future. For what? You got low self-esteem issues. Come on. The dumbest thing they would do to their kid behind the back because they feel some kind of way. This
Unfortunately,
is
that's the
something.
sad part.
This is
Parents.
something. I'm glad you said it. This is something I had to think about. I locked myself in my brain just pondering. Why do parents do what they do?
And that's another reason why we're doing the show tonight. Why? Good question, David. Why do you guys do what you guys do? Because I'm not a parent yet. I was a step
Oh,
parent at one time, but that's not count as a real parent.
I know it doesn't count, but I will honestly advise you be extremely careful who you plan to have kids with.
And that's the
Take it
hard
from
part.
me. Take it from me. I'll be real with you. If you cannot find this person you're looking for here, get your passport. I 10,000% agree with that. A part of me, to be honest with you right now, it's almost like I regret even trying to find a spouse on this soil to begin with. In my mind, as a nerd, I felt like the crop are beyond low grade because to me, being a parent to me is sacred. You can't just have kid with just anybody.
Oh, I agree.
You're giving the a sacred opportunity to mold a mind to do something that you want to succeed in. You want to make sure the mind that you mold is not only a greater version than you, it will make you feel proud that you do something worth it. But these days you have parents who's happy if their little child can twerk to the most garbage ass music possible. This is why I don't listen to hip hop music. No, if anything, I'll listen to anime music. Like I can't tolerate the retardedness of me that people call it hot or hit. It's almost like this is the first state of that movie or Idiocracy. Remember that movie from Comedy Central when the world went to
Mhm.
shit and everybody got extremely dumbed down? I feel like we're in the first stage with all the trash ass music from the trash ass people, trash ass politicians making the trash ass decision. We gotta worry about of not upsetting people who are speaking the actual common sense truth. My daughter almost got in trouble in school one time when she did say, there's actually two sex. There ain't not more than two, and they want to expel my daughter because she's speaking common sense. No, no, don't get me wrong. I wish I can go Black Hulk mode and just go into that school and rip a couple of heads just for my daughter. That's the actual truth. There's time I want to go unleash and just pound some head in. Like, who are
But
you?
you don't want to
Like,
make it worse for her either.
there you go. I don't want to do that either, but that would be bad. But when I see my daughter doing the right thing and they want to chastise her because she said the right thing, I part of me they want to grab their neck and just twist it. Well, that's the kind of dad I am, though. So I feel like I put too much weight on myself just being a parent because I don't want to fail. I take it too serious compared to others that don't really care. Maybe because it's the only place I can say I can do something great. Pass down something that wasn't passed down to me. Pass down whether or not I've gained over my journey. That's how I am. I don't know. That's what I'm telling you. Before you decide to have kids, make sure you ultra vet the person you plan to be children with. Because
So how would you advise somebody to how break a person down to as a man who's been through this and is going through this? How do you say to somebody, "Hey, brother, be careful"? You know, if I were you, if I was dating right now or going out or whatever, this is what I would do.
first and foremost, I said before in the past a few years ago, no, it's actually 2, 3 years ago on BMU Network, you need a counsel.
Okay.
When I say you need a council of men or people who will tell you the truth, either if it's better, who are not afraid to be blunt with you, even though you don't like it. That's something that was taught back in my country. You have people within a council, people you who can see what you couldn't see, hear what you couldn't hear, and understand what you did not understand at first. So that when they see something, when that person go, they're gonna put you to the side and point out the obvious and give you detail why that's not the person. I think that's something that was missing from the it's the same thing. It's like you find a wife, you need that council of people, either family or friend or uncle, someone that you know who have been consistent with their honesty, consistent with their word, consistent with their views. They don't flip flop. They call it out, they see it. Those kind of people you will need. So if you decide to see someone and they want you to want it like that, she's not the one. Sorry, you don't need that. The bullshit about the opposite. There was so much bullshit that be pumping in this society. Opposite attract bullshit.
You don't think so?
Make no. Really? Then
No, I'm asking a
we
serious
already,
question.
if that's the kid, why we have so many psychotic baby mamas? I'm being logical about it. Opposite attract to a calm, collected person to a shakti ass person. That's attractive. Come on. I wish I kept to my old way. I could have avoided all this bullshit. I'm beyond. There's so many things. Like I said, I beat myself up on because I knew better, but I chose to do otherwise because of these different, unproven point of views that completely full of shit. That's why I say wisdom is better than being smart.
Hmm. Now let me ask this question. I'm gonna ask you two questions here. Question number one. I know you say you put a lot of time in parenting and working, but did your baby mama ex, whatever we call her, um, did she ever parent with you, or was it always on you?
I would say there have been too much flip flopping. If we agree upon something, last minute she flip flop, which is not helping. I try to avoid things that I know will happen if they're not a joint agreement on how they're going to be done because I watch parents who were parents before me and I see what the level of consistency built. It built a level of integrity, built a level of responsibility, built a level of accountability. Too many times parents trying to be the best friend with their kid but not realize you're hurting them. I was told a few months ago I'm lame because I don't want to spoil my kids. But my daughter let me know why I'm glad I didn't spoil her. A particular person was act like a spoiled rotten brat. But I chose to be a father of discipline, a father of accountability, of responsibility, a father of integrity. I want my kid to do better, but because I don't want to spoil my kid, I'm a bad guy. Really. This is why I don't think opposites attract. It never does. You better well be into who have this, who share the same view, the same ideology, the same concept of parenting, the same concept of raising, the same concept of building your finance together. That person will see what you see and want to work together with you and build something great. Instead of doing some opposite because it's fun, because it's cool, that will bring gray to your hair, even though you haven't reached the age of gray yet. Not needed. It is not.
I think it's rough when you have to raise it. Let me ask this question. Okay, you mentioned about your ex or baby mom, whatever you want to fucking call her. Did you guys have different styles of parenting?
I won't say it was style. It was ideology that was the conflict, and I can understand why. I grew up in an environment where there was structure and order in place. The people that who actually saved me wasn't my mom and my dad, was my uncles. I'm talking my aunt living in Nigeria. The 7 years in Nigeria that I spent there was more than the year that I spent with my parents. They gave me something that it would keep me intact, keep me on the straight and narrow, but keep me focused. Even though I had so much setback and roadblock, there are times I really wanted to quit, just give it up, but a part of me would not even let me due to the structure and order I've been put upon. Her ideology didn't have no strong foundation. When we want to talk about foundation, it's like you look at a house in principle. When you build a weak foundation, you're trying to build a house upon that. What thing gonna happen when a storm hit?
Destroy.
There are too many parents out here who have weak ad foundation. They're constantly flip flopping too much.
But why? Let's break it down. Weak parenting. Let's say why first, David. Before, what is your opinion? Okay, I cannot put my two opinions because I'm not a biological father.
Mhm.
If you want to count Alex, he's technically a fur baby. No,
Why'd I have?
I'm trying to make you laugh. You're getting too emotional on me, buddy.
No, I'm not even emotional. It's just I'm stuck in the dark zone. Just
If you want later, just between us, I seen a
hit.
picture of my ass.
No, don't do that.
Make
Let me tell you why I say what I said because
you
I
laugh at
I
least.
I thought about it for the past couple of years. Why were I made different from many others? And I can only come across something. There are people who have a rejection to discipline. People who don't like to be in a sense of order when things have to be done a certain way. Hey, boss man, how you doing? I
Boss man,
appreciate
link
it.
is in the chat if you want to come up, buddy.
It's something that I realized that a huge number of society run from. Because I'll be honest, there was a time I was trying to join the Navy because I feel I would have excelled in it because I came from a house of do structure and order, coming from Nigeria. I
Hmm.
had a make martial background, but I needed something to put a extra clamp on the rage that I've been suppressing for many years. Because you and I both know when we got into our martial arts discipline, we took our oath not to break that particular clause to use what we learned out of anger, out of a, to have a level of discipline.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I have not broken the code. My temper have gotten better at me. I know you have. You can sit there and tell me you haven't broken your code a couple times. I'm not going to sit there and tell you I didn't have
No,
lost my temper.
how about the code? I will be honest with you. There were many chance I would have inched away of
You-
breaking. I'm not gonna lie. When I say inched away, if I would have done it, I don't know. There's something that was clicking in my head when I wanted to go down that path, and all I can see, there's no. You know how you see a tunnel vision that you want to go through, and you see that there's
Mhm.
darkness, but there's no light, or it's letting you know you take this path, there's no coming out, and something will just stir me away. There were many of times I want to practice so many dangerous hold on people just because they were triggering me, or they were egging me on, or they were pressing the wrong button, trying to make me explode. And for some people, the moment I want to cross that line, something that tell me, no, it's not for you. Which is the reason why I was trying to join the military. I felt I would have put the extra clamp. Then again, a part of me would let me know that even though I missed it 3 times, I didn't able to get them because of some weird reason. Maybe I should be thankful because I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it. I thought, what if I go so far going to a Navy SEAL? Man, I went to Special Forces. A part of me want to go to Navy SEAL at one point. I wanted to challenge myself, see how far I can go. Psychologically speaking, it's like people are like, "Oh, they're gonna break you. They're gonna break you." I laugh at them like, I don't think you understand. Man, just say Africa is a place for crazy people.
I won't say crazy, but you guys are from a different cloth, cut from a different cloth.
Yeah, Yeah,
Unlike yeah,
and
like I'll use you and what's us dumbass as I your buddy's name. Help me out here.
Ekene, Ekene.
Ekane. Ekane is more tribal. He's the man.
Ah,
His foot down. Fuck you to the world. He hates everybody. But you're the sweetest, cuddlest,
I'm always
kissingest bear I
I,
ever met in my fucking life.
I'm always trained. That's the problem. I almost took the traditional route. Is what you call the hardcore, not the. You know how they had the hard right and the hard left in politics? They're
Hmm.
nothing compared to the hardcore traditional. Hardcore traditionalists, you cannot move them. You can never shake them. Your views does not exist.
No, I
That's
don't have a
what it is.
problem with him. His views. No,
No, I know,
don't.
I
Whoa,
know.
whoa, whoa,
I
whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's get something straight. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem. He doesn't respect other people's views.
and that's what I'm trying to explain to you because traditionalists are trained different. There are layers to how African people really are. They are layered. I'm not gonna lie to that. The hardest layer to deal with are people who were brought up in the traditional of the core culture of their people. Those cultures have been passed down over thousands of years. That type of culture that have built over time is built solid. And when a person was raised in a foundation that was built solid, you cannot break them. I would say I was spared from that because once you get to that, it's like those people have solid foundation, but you cannot negate the fact those people with that type of mindset who are beyond driven are always highly successful. Quitting is not an answer for them. Those things drive them to the point of where they got to be successful. They ain't no backing down. Sometimes I wish I have that, but I ask myself, if I have that mindset. Well, what I'm willing to lose.
Oh, how far are you willing to go to?
That why I have to respect Mandrell when he said we African people are crazy. Yes, we have our own craziness. It's completely unmeasurable. I would say this: don't trigger an African person. You don't know what to expect. You do not know. You don't know what tribe or what cloth they came from. I will tell you this though: you're not built for that. So I get it. This fall in line with where my mind's when it comes to being a parent. I don't want to back down. I'm not allowed to quit. Even though I want to quit plenty of time, I'm not allowed to. And this is something I have to do with fundamental minds of your family. What kind of foundation your family is based on? And I think in a way his culture as a traditionalist actually protect them from the bullshit that many people are going through in this country. We think about it. Because I look at people, some people are so fussed, but it doesn't affect people like Ekene. They are so grounded, it doesn't move them. When I listen to his story about his father, how his father don't show love, but he have a way of showing love through his action, not by saying "I love you." His action speak for itself. It starts to make me when the last you see a old school dad who show by his act but not by his words. When later when you start to realize when you get older, you're like, wow, my dad protected me from this. Wow, my dad was well protecting me for that. Wow, my dad was making sure I had to go through this route because it was for my own good. And you start to look back like, damn, I'm glad I listened to my dad. Get what I'm saying?
Oh, I don't understand because my father's like that. My father never hugged. He's rare when he hugged me. It's rare when he said he actually never said he loved me.
Yeah, but his action tells it. What he do, even though you don't understand it now, but you understand it later, it tells you.
Absolutely.
A,
Not gonna
a
argue that one
real,
bit.
a real good dad may not share his emotion, but his action speak bigger than him saying it. When you start to look back what he was protecting you from, what you were blocking to come your way, you start to realize, wow. They wanted it to be a dad, and that has always been on my mind. I'm telling you, fatherhood is not something to mess around with.
And it's not for
It's not.
everybody either. It's not for everybody. Let's talk about that for a
But
second here.
whew,
It's not for everybody.
it's. I want to change that word. It's not forever. It's for a select few. And that's the reason why I say it's select few. It triggered and hurt me to see a child go through suffering and pain under the parent that don't really care about them. But at the same token, yet nothing you can do about it. Stuff like that haunt me. It does.
Okay,
This
let's
is
talk
why
about social media for a second here with this. Because you see online all the way how parents act so many different ways, how they treat their kids, how they raise the kids, excuse me, how they punish them. Some are positive, some is negative, some is what the fuck. Some is great. Something like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
for the past 7, 8 years, we see all type of parenting style on the internet, and I'm sure it make you question the parenting that you were going through when you were younger, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether the right thing to do or whether the wrong thing to do. We in a society where now spank is a taboo. Yeah, I had spanking, but the kind of spanking I have growing up, only a few can adore the kind of spanking. Everybody else is weak. And when I've been to my country, Nigeria, any African country, where back then capital punishment was legal.
And a lot of countries still is.
I know.
And I think that's the problem we
That,
have in this country is like you can't slap your kid when he does something wrong.
yeah, but a kid can punch a teacher in the face.
That I disagree too.
Yeah, try that in Africa. Let me be a teacher in Africa. That teacher to the one to punch me in the face. If you don't see that kid hanging up in the roof by then, that kid is blessed.
Yeah, if you hit a teacher in Greece, you're proud. Like, that kid's going to jail.
My school back then, you have all type of weapon of mass destruction. We call it Twitch. We got the one whereby it's thin at one end and got a huge bark on the other end. That called the big biter. You don't want to have a Twitch with a big bark at the end, so when they hit you, this sound effect sound like a horror movie.
Oh, I believe
and
you, bro.
and the thickness of your skin, if it's light and weak, oh, it will go in deeper. Then we got one of the banana branch that is very flexible. That is for sadistic teachers who understand the art of flogging. And the way they do it, don't never get the thick one. The thick one is bendable, but it have thickness for power, but it don't really hit the spot. They say the best one is the one that is thin, that felt like a rubber band in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you can do it when you about to get the impact,
Suck
you
it in.
pull it, you pull it like you're doing a whip. So when that thing hit the skin and pull itself out, it pulls some skin with it. It's like you're having a whip in your hand. Oh, I went through all that on my bare back. I remember one time the most I ever got in a day was about what, 48 latches. How many American kids can go through all that? And they claim they're tough. Bullshit.
I don't think any kid here is tough.
Nah, they don't know what it's like to get latched on your bare back, in your hand, the back of your leg. I remember one time I got it twice over here when they put a hit me in my hand, but instead of hitting my hand, they hit me right here on my arm. I was like, what the hell? I had my hand out like this. I'm putting it in my hand. And they chose not to hit me in my hand and hit me in between my bicep and my forearm. If I wasn't strong enough to take it, I would be crying like a bitch, which I didn't. I would piss. I remember one time they were trying to hit me on my back. They missed my back and hit me in the back of my neck. A part of me wanted to go Hulk mode on somebody. But I had a couple of them, because if I do anything, I'll have stick teeth to whooping my behind with it. The level of mental toughness I went through as a kid in high school in that country, it made me have no pity for kids of today. They got it too easy.
Absolutely, they have it very easy here. Not like we had it back in Greece, like or Africa in your case.
I was in boarding
Anybody could
school.
beat the shit out of you. Not only your parents, anybody.
But here's the thing, I was in boarding school, which means I go to school, I go back to the dorm. I didn't go home till my semester was over. I got real tough in boarding school back in my country. That's why I was trying to join the military. I feel like a little more extra structure in order it will keep me in check so I don't explode. I have a high level of discipline. Or like man, Joe, you have stoicism. You just keep that beat, just keep it pushing. You don't latch out like a feminine male, which are too many of them, to be honest though. Today's society, you wanna act like you're strong, you gotta get a gun. But back in
Do
Africa,
not get me started with that shit.
we deal with our knuckles. Then again, the condition of my country to make you have gorilla-like hands. So we want to give people haymakers. Believe me, they will feel it. No, no, that's why I tell you as a parent, I want my kid to be backbone. That's something I was trying to avoid. I'm telling you, parenting is not so simple, but it takes a lot of mental endurance, a lot of discipline, a lot of structure and order. A parent without structure and order can never be a parent. Sure, because the way it is right now, you raise a child with no structure and order, they would not last. They will burn out. Structure and order build endurance. If they think I'm wrong, then put a philosophy. What kind of sport we have in the country? We got American football, we got soccer, we got basketball. Fine. You think we're going to throw anybody on the team who have not properly trained to play professional basketball?
Nope.
How much shit does one person have to go through to be qualified to come off the bench and play the game? But everybody want to get the easy path in life. Come on, give me a break. Ain't so.
And that's my issue right now. You just said it. Free pass. You know how many times I hear this shit? Not the term free pass. These people or kids or whoever who have not fucking earned it. I'll give you a great example. I worked the most shittiest company in the world, Sodexo. So when I worked for that shitty company, Sodexo, was a kid. He's been cooking on it for 2 years. All right. It was a year ago, actually, 1 year ago, exactly. And actually, a little more than a year now, a year and 1 month. He they made him a sous chef, assistant manager, pretty much, with 6 months of experience only, ever in the kitchen. So that kid's gonna tell me what to fucking do when I literally have in my pinky toe more experience than he will ever have. Tell me, I'm just using that as an example. He got a free fucking ride, pretty much. He
I know
didn't
that
earn his land.
I know that example because that's what I'm seeing in today's workforce. The American workforce will put the most less qualified people in position that belong in. You think I'm wrong? Let's be
I
real.
don't think you're right. No, you're
I
right.
let me paint a nice picture for people to comprehend. Yes, I didn't vote for this past election. I found out the election was a complete joke. I gotta choose between a banshee witch so completely full of shit who really actually Indian, never black to begin with, but too many people want to come on mainstream to shove down a narrative where you can clearly see the feature and know and look at the family and know something was off and all the lie they put out there, but people fall for the okie doke. Vote for this banshee witch. Then we got a dude who have been hated in New York for the longest. Yes, he barely even passed high school. He could have been a high school dropout. Because of
Hmm.
daddy money, he paid the principal to pass him. He went to university in Pennsylvania. He couldn't even pass over there. The dean of his department wanted to fail this guy because this guy was extremely dumb as fuck.
I believe
The
that.
only the only person who was smarter than the dumb fuck we voted for was actually his older brother, who was highly intelligent. But yet the dean wanted to quit his position, but they went past the dean and paid the president of the university to pass the guy. Why you think you had that same bullshit that happened a few years ago where people want to put their spoiled ass black kid in a college they didn't earn their way in, but there were people who were busting their ass to get in there that cannot get in. Let that sink in. This is the society that we live in, where these shit for brains climb up to the higher position in a place they're not supposed to be, but people who will actually qualify for that position don't get it. You mean they put in the work and the effort and the discipline to do the actual job to the level of perfection, but you give it to a shithole. That's the American dream. The reason why I say I'm allergic to stupid people, there are too much stupid people around this country to this day. Sometimes I just wonder if just go to another country where there's less dumb people but more smart people. But somewhere the virus from this country is affecting the other nation now. The level of stupidity is so high and contagious. It's like people are stuck on stupid. They can't take the emotion out and look at the facts and be logical. They rather hold their panties. I'm sorry. Too many guys out here wear panties and thongs. They don't wear boxers. But they want to pump themselves up the other man. No, you're not. I'm sure you got a butt plug up your ass. That's why you act the way you act. I'm sorry. It's the dark side coming out slowly. I'm being honest. We see it. We see it on the panel. We see it in conversation. We see it on the mainstream media. I don't
You know
know.
what?
It's just.
I know a lot. I'm gonna get heat for this, and I don't really give a shit. To be honest with you guys,
Mhm.
there's some things coming up when I hear people having conversations with people saying we should be doing this, we should be doing that. I don't have a problem with anybody to start forcing things on me. I don't force things on people. Like I don't force anybody to watch this stream. You can get up and leave whenever you want,
Mhm.
but don't force things on me, on David, on his kids, his grandkids, his great kids. Don't force things to on my mother or whoever. You know where I'm going with this. I don't want to get too much in details. I don't want to get
No,
flagged.
I
Like that.
I've been a
Not
very
you in general. I'm talking about whoever's
I
watching
know
still.
I've been aware of
Yeah.
that for
So before we go
ages.
on, David, let's get his guy in here. All right. On
President elect.
It's good, gentlemen.
what's going on, Mr. President? How are you tonight?
All right, just doing a little work.
Workout or work?
Both.
You look like you just got done working out. That's why I'm asking you.
Nah, I actually did some work in the office, and then, but I had my shirt. I didn't feel like changing my shirt, so.
All right, you look like you just got done working out. That's what I'm saying. You're like the only person I don't know who's like is like 35 degrees out today, and it's supposed to snow, and you're in a beater.
Nah, I'm very toasty in my
Oh,
house. So,
it was pouring outside. I went outside to drop something to the bank, and I was like,
I literally had
luckily,
a conversation with somebody today, last night and today. I go, it's going to snow. Like, it's not going to snow. It's going to flurry a little bit because the weather is still too warm. It has to hit 32
well,
degrees and below to actually develop any real snow.
it's funny I didn't feel it because of my bearskin jacket I
I would
have.
agree on something.
Shout out to Bearskin. They make the best jacket for men.
All right. Did you catch any of this, Paul, at all?
very, very, very little.
So we're talking about a unique world like we're in now, about raising kids. I'm staying a little bit out of it because I haven't raised kids. You and David's being, carrying the ship tonight. So I'll give it the floor for a minute. So the last couple questions I asked David was different discipline and different style of parenting, uh, impact of social media, how that impacts it, and how much of teamwork does you and your wife need to be a good parent?
Well, let me start with the third one last. You guys got to be good couple, period. It starts and ends there, always. So if me and my wife are not on the same page, it's not going to go well. So us staying tight is essential. Us having the same mindset and philosophy on the margins, at least on the basic areas in terms of how the kids need to be raised, restrictions that that are put on them. All that has you got to be in alignment. If you have two different parenting philosophies, that's going to be very difficult. So that's why I'm always an advocate of, again, you really, that first few years of marriage, again, don't bring kids into the equation until you think your marriage is right. Because if it isn't, then it's not going to. Kids will not make your marriage better. They will test it. So going back to, you guys know my story. 3 years we were married before we even thought about having kids. And so I had to be sure, is this someone I want to have kids with? Could we be aligned that way? And so I think that really has to be paramount. You guys being on the same page. And as I said on our last show on the gray area, talking about parenting and the like, do you want to even be a parent? If so, how many children do you want? Are you willing to live in a blended family with if the person you decide to marry have kids already? You have to be set in your mind. So I'll even back it up from there. Again, what is your mindset? Why do you want kids? I think years ago it was easy why you wanted kids because you wanted labor. So let's just get this clear. Kids, for the most part, have always been about partly legacy, but also labor. When you were an agrarian society and whatnot, you wanted people in the fields, you wanted people in the farms, you had large families. Again, my dad came from 13, my mom came from 9, and they basically worked the farm. You know what I mean? It's labor. So again, this idea of doting on kids and all this kind of stuff, this is a relatively new thing. Kids were always going to be like a utility more so than more so than anything, or certainly something to pass your assets on to in the future. But this whole lot, this new philosophy about raising kids is a relatively new thing. So it was easy. Now, since we're living in this information age, you really have to ask yourself the question, as I asked on Sunday: why do you want kids? Like I said, my parents' generation, it was pretty simple as to why they wanted them. Now you really have to think about: do you want to be a parent? Again, there was no social safety nets back then. So again, your kids were also responsible for taking care of you and all those things. So that they were your insurance policy, at the end of the day. Well, now people can buy their own insurance. So you really have to ask. And I think a lot of people who have kids are not asking themselves those questions. They become parents before they're ready, and then they complain about the children that they produce, because I think fundamentally in the back of their minds, they never wanted to be parents and begin with. So why does a father overreact when his son snaps at him or whatever? I honestly think, again, I can't prove it. I honestly think in the back of my mind, that father sometimes says, I didn't even want you anyway. So if that, so again, if you got that going on, then I don't think you have any business being a parent. And I know it hurts the numbers. I understand the metrics to say you need 2.1 kids per family in order to keep the population. I know there's an economic incentive, but that message isn't resonating with certainly with a lot of younger people, with a lot of millennials and Zers and whatnot. They're not driven by economics of, okay, I need to preserve the nation in order to have these kids. So you got to give them something else. And I think if the government doesn't intervene at some point and put some incentives, not forcing. So I did catch what you were saying earlier. You don't like the government force you on anything, but they're forcing you on a lot of other things. But that being said, but I think you have to create an economic environment for people to want to get married, have families, and have the means for which to get these kids from birth to adulthood. And if it's such a national priority, then it needs to show up in the politics. And it's not. All these people who talk about conservative values, they care about one value: that the child is born. After that, you're on your own. And we're starting to see the crux of it. So yeah, you could be like, yeah, you got to carry this baby, but again, what conditions are these kids being born into? And those are things that you really have to to think about. If the society is serious about parenting, then you have to give parents what they need in order to raise these kids. And $330,000, they say, is the price tag now per child if you want to raise them from 8 to 18. From birth to 18. So so those are things that have got to be there. In terms of alternate ways of raising kids, yeah, there are alternates. Not every successful kid had to get beat or threatened with violence. Like I said, I never beat my girls. If I had sons, I don't know. Maybe it would have to be conditional. It would based on the situation. But it's not my first thing. Oh, well, I got to beat, you kids are bad because we beating their butt. And the prisons are full of kids who got beat up. And as far as some of these countries, David, I love you. And I hear from a lot of Africans who always talk about what it was like in Africa, but we also know the state of Africa, and it's not good. We talk about violence, it is extremely violent. All the social ills are there. They're just not highlighted. So when I hear a lot of immigrants come over and say, well, this is that and whatnot, well, why'd you come here then if America is so bad? I'm saying that rhetorically. I'm not saying anyone specifically, but I hear that so often. But if whatever method you use, we're gonna get the big switch and beat them, and if that produce better people, I'm not. And there's a lot of instances out there where I'm not seeing it. So I'm not saying discipline isn't necessary, structure isn't necessary, being on the right page, making sure you have the means economics wise to raise kids. You gotta all those things have to be in play. But it certainly is a very serious thing. It's like back in the day, you had to have kids because you didn't know that the ones you had were going to live. The infant mortality rates before modern medicine was such, well, yeah, you had to have 10 to save 5. And in certain communities, like the Black community, Black women are still 3 times more likely to have infant mortality because of, a lack of health priority. There's discrepancies in the healthcare system for Black women. They're 3 times more likely to die in childbirth, regardless of their income. So, yeah, but these are the conversations that people have to have. A man first. Why do I want kids? Woman, why do you want kids? Then you marry someone. Do you want kids? What you guys got to really sort that out. And then take it on, and then you simply put yourself in the best environment to raise children in. If you're in a crime-ridden area, an impoverished area, no opportunity, no job prospects or whatever, it's probably not the best environment to conceive a child in. Work on your economic situation to build up, so then you can put yourself in a better situation to have kids. And again, if you're going to have kids multiple, you got to weigh that out. You see how many times we see in the Black community these baby mamas with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids. I mean, that's not a healthy outcome, but that seems to be what a lot of people are saying. Oh, well, gotta again stop the deletions. So you'd rather have that than somebody who I would go the other way. I think honestly, I think there's some certain I could see giving somebody a one get out of jail free card. This is how radical I am on this. You get one get out of jail free card to do what you got to do if you're not ready for that. After that, if you got to come back again, we taking your tubes. We're tying them up. We're doing whatever. You getting done. Because I truly believe there's people who are just not fit to bring people into this world. And so, and again, I'm pro family. I want to see intact nuclear families, if you will, or even blended or whatever, but healthy ones. But I'm well over this thing that's like, I got, you gotta stop, this, the row and all this kind of stuff. Like I'm over that. And the reality is, go back and look at pre-74 numbers. It wasn't like there was that wasn't going on. It was going on a lot. And probably, depending on how you look at the numbers, it was probably happening at a greater rate because we were half the population. I read a stat recently. They had some statistics from the Gothenburg Institute from like 1967. And there were anywhere between 800,000 and 1.2 million deletions in 1967. And mind you, the population of the country at the time was only 192 million. So you talk about half that many, which is more than what the current is now, is gone down since the 90s with half the population. Go to countries where it's illegal. It's still happening. Nigeria, it's happening. 400,000 plus every year. And it's illegal in the country. So I'm asking people to, again, have a conversation with yourself, with the person that you're thinking about pairing with, before you take that step to bring children into the world. And I think that would do a lot in terms of, you know, formulating how you want to parent. You know, do you want to use corporal punishment or not, or how you want to raise your kid, or those sort of things. But I think there's a lot of things that work, because I've seen a lot of things that work. It's going to be specific to your situation at the end of the day. But again, I don't think there's a one size fits all, you know, when it comes to this thing. And I think people really need to, you know, be more adult about this, not just going based on what your experience was. But again, we got to start thinking, if we want to address this issue nationally, well, then you're going to need to have national means in order to do something about it. So that's my, you know, that's my 2 cents on it.
I want to add something here really fast. You said earlier. Hang on, Dave, 1 second. So you said about the deletion part. Not Greece is another country. I don't remember which country it is. So if you somehow, some way deleted your kid as a mother, right, without signed permission of the father, you go to jail automatically. That's
I
attempted
never
murder.
heard of that. I don't know what country that is or what.
I mean, I don't remember where I read it. I read it
Yeah.
a while back. That they consider that murder, the first degree. I'm not saying I agree with it or disagree with it. I'm not there to have an opinion. I'm just bringing something up.
I get your
I'm
point,
not.
but
Go ahead.
I
Go ahead,
I
David.
would say that I agree with what Mr. Ben was talking about. Yet I criticize my own country for a lot of there are too many factors that took place in my
Again,
country.
Dave,
No,
I wasn't.
no,
Again, I
I'm
wasn't
not.
calling you out
I know
personally.
I know you want to call me out, but I can say I have criticized my country for 2 decades for the stuff I see going on there, and I know why it happened. My only issue is, why do people turn a blind eye when you know this is wrong, and then make excuse for it till it got worse and not ever want to start complain about it. When I foreseen this thing 2 decades ahead, I was chewed out on Facebook for almost a good X amount of year until the cheaper going incident happened, because I saw what was happening. I was living there. I lived with an uncle who was working the high government, and the stuff I was seeing, I was scratching my head like, this does not make no sense. That's why I say certain people don't deserve to be in power, but we teach as if it's okay. That's why I say I was making a mockery of the past election, because it's kind of like you're giving us two worst options to choose from. When you have better option, but you don't want to give us better option, like you're shoving it down our throat. You get what I'm saying? Go to the spot. You see what I'm talking
Mm.
about? When they're
Hmm.
forcing, us force feeding. We don't want this. We didn't ask for this. They want to tell us we need this. Like, this is part of our solution. Like, are you freaking kidding me? That's how I felt about my own nation when I was seeing the shenanigans that was going. And I'm crossing my head like, this thing
But
don't make
hasn't
no sense.
Africa had issues for like years and years and years? It
But
has not
And
but
and
fixed.
yeah,
and, and there's a reason why that's going on, because for one, people have been speaking out, are being threatened, that we know that we have their ears from these other Western identities that tell you to do bullshit.
yeah, but it boils down to the same thing, David. At the end of the
Okay,
day,
I'll give you a
and
perfect
even
example. I'll give you a
yeah,
perfect example. Burkina Faso, the guy who's running the country, the guy's in his 30s, right? You know how many attempts they had on this guy's life to date in under 2 years? 18. 18 attempts to try to take this guy out. If you ask me, we do the math, that is 9 times more when Donald Trump went through. 18. They trying to take the guy because he decided to kick the French out. He was focused on rebuilding his country for his own people. meaning the whole nature to do better, and they enjoying life better. And because he's doing things completely different, they trying to delete him, and they have up to 18 attempts. Two other countries followed suit, and said we had enough. But what's going on in Africa, it become an outside influence. Want to make sure they keep that place destabilized. No one not going to benefit with the African continent get modernized and they start to make sense of what they're supposed to do. Because you know why? It will affect their global. It will affect their own global economy. And I seen that, and I called that out when I was in high school. It didn't make no damn sense. And seeing what's going on right now, I, my uncle cursed me out the other day. With I every that I spoke to before that was 4 years that I spoke to him the other day. I told him I was looking for a tech job, and like, what the hell are you talking about? You stay right over there. I was like, okay, I respect my uncle because he have a sense of structure and order and logic. He makes sense of what he's saying. But he used to let me know I don't belong. Okay, I know my mouth. My mouth will give me. I will call out the fact. What I'll call out. If I say this man is piece of crap, I might be a target because they don't like me talking negative about a leader. Even a leader is a piece of crap. He worse than Trump by multiplied by 100. That's how it is over there, and I get it. I'm that individual. If you full of shit, I think you are full of shit. You ain't that great. This is not talking about. I'm just being honest with you. Like I found out I'm in a society where people can't deal with honesty. People are so touchy with honesty. That's why I take parenting votes. And what Paul said, you need to be back. Didn't I say that earlier before Paul said that? Ghost?
You did say it. I'm shaking my head because nobody's fucking honest in this goddamn place anymore. Nobody. Name one fucking person who's honest. Not talking about us. We're close. We're good friends. Whatever.
Hmm.
But I'm talking about you talking on a daily basis. Somebody. I don't talk to you guys every day. I talk to you guys through the week. Let's forget our friendship for a minute here. People you talk at work, for example. That's where we spend our most of our times. You think they're fucking honest? No. That's my issue with people now. Why are you not fucking honest? Who are you trying to impress? I'm not impressed. I think you're a fucking idiot for lying. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that have been my pet peeve for over 30 plus years. Like I'm not into the business of impressing people or flaunting or compete. I'm focused on my own agenda. I want to accomplish what I can be a proud of for being a parent because I want to be consistent. I don't want to flip flop. My job as a parent to make sure my children surpass me. And I believe
Hmm.
Mr. Bennett is the same way as I am. Have that same mindset. I want you to do better than what I did, so you can pass that legacy to the next generation. That
And
have,
she has a good point right here. People wear masks. Different. It's not only wearing a mask. You're even at home. You wear a mask. Trying to be somebody tough.
Mhm.
Pretend. And that's so maybe that's how they function. That's fine. But just be honest with yourselves. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between, again, there's a mask, but then there's also a role, and I think you need to certainly understand the difference between both of those. I think certainly in my younger years, certainly I wore the mask as a father. Certainly, or play the role as a father. I feel less so today, not out of any disrespect or anything, but in recent years, obviously, I've been able to share a lot more about myself, about my personal history with my kids than I would have as when they were younger, because one, they didn't need to know, and it wouldn't have been a benefit to them. So I've been able to be a lot more transparent when it comes to their their rearing and whatnot. But I could be honest with them about the finances, or I could be honest about those times when it was a struggle for us. But as kids, You want, you don't want them necessarily worrying about, you know, the difficulties that you're going through. Again, you want to kind of shield them. But now that they're adults, I can be like completely, I don't have to have the dad hat on. Obviously they come to me for wisdom and the like, but I don't need to wear that, I'm tough, or I'm, dad is in
You don't
structure.
have to wear that shield anymore.
Correct. But again, when you're rearing them, whatnot, and same with mom also. I mean, they be talking, they be sharing stuff. Again, the relationship at this point is like it's a lot more intimate than when they were younger, because again, you're wearing that. But to say that, but when you're playing a role or you're wearing a mask, you're painting a picture of things. And David, I think he's probably shared more in these spaces about what that mask is, coming from a Nigerian culture, and all of the masks, it seems like, that a lot of people wear. And then once you learn the truth of things, you're like, oh, wait up, I thought this was something else, and it's totally different. So it's almost like you grow up with a set of ideals, and then you realize those ideals weren't what they hyped them up to be. You know what I mean? And I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, but I think a lot
I
of
went
that,
through a similar thing too,
right.
if you really think about it.
But nations go through it as well. I mean, we talk about what's going on in nationally, like in the country. Like I said, that's why I'm always like into the history. I think Vietnam, really, that whole era changed America, because again, after World War II, I don't think America could have got any higher than what it was. They were like, America apple pie. We freed Europe and whatnot, and everybody was like, no one could touch America. In fact, all that stuff, like In God We Trust and One Nation Under God, that was added in 1954.
What?
People think that One Nation Under God was in the Pledge of Allegiance from the beginning. It wasn't. It was added in 1950. It was added in 1954.
Thank you.
And In God We Trust was added to our money in 1954. So again, from that 10-year period after World War II, it was like America was like the virtue. It was like everybody just knew that America was this this God's country. But then Vietnam happened, and then people start saying, hey, what's going on here? And people started asking questions about, hey, what is our government actually doing? And then you started learning about what the CIA was doing, and all these other, and then even in our community, the COINTELPRO and just campaigns that by our government. So it's almost like our parents kind of betrayed us to an extent. And I think that's, to a large extent, that's why I think you've seen a lot of this rebellious, I think last week you were talking about Woodstock, and you were talking, that whole, generation was such where, again, the norms that were established, it was a mask. And that mask got ripped off, and then people looked at it as, looked at it in a certain way. So I think that's really where the, I think where some of the disconnect, but I think it even happens within parents also. Kids, they see the mask that parents wear, especially, and again, I haven't seen it as much with American, I've seen a lot with like second generation immigrants. I've seen it a lot, not just Africans. I've seen it with Indians, and where it's like these kids, when they grow up in America and see, like, again, an alternate way of thinking and doing things, and then when they look at their own and be like, wait a minute, some of these things aren't necessarily right. But, and a lot of them, they're breaking tradition also. Indians aren't marrying to the rates that they did. They're not, and a lot of them aren't getting the arranged marriages like their parents or their grandparents did, and all that stuff. I mean, they like the social, but it's like with Christians, it's like Easter Sunday and Christmas, right? They show up to church on Easter and Christmas because of the traditions and stuff, right? But it's happening in all kinds of cultures.
It is.
You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, we like Diwali. Yeah, we like the lights and the firecrackers and all that kind of stuff. That's cool. But I'm not 10 toes down on this stuff that was y'all generation, but it's not mine. So
And
so again,
I'm glad you mentioned that because when you did that dialogue, I remember in my 20s, I've been around people from different culture, and we had that conversation about culture, and you asked that same question: Do you feel like you need to follow that culture? And each one of us from different cultures was saying, even though I was saying that I need to take my culture and put it back under the microscope and figure out what impurity I need to yank out because there are too many inconsistencies that it wasn't adding up, it wasn't making sense because I would have put who would like to ask questions. Why are we doing this? What is the significance of this? Why are we doing that? What do we profit from doing this? What is the logic behind this? Why do we have to keep this? And when I've done that for so long, I come to a place like I think something is not right here. Someone is gaslighting me. Someone is lying to me. Someone not being honest. And I was labeled a black sheep because I would question anything and everything.
yeah. And to be fair, I'm like, look, I can certainly see some of those OGs talking about, look, you may not like certain things about the culture or whatever, but that kept us for thousands of years. Or whatever, however far back you want to go. So it's like, look, you can be critical or whatever, but that whatever it was, that made us a people. Now you in America now you want to be an individual. But that group think is what when the immigrants came, in the 20th century, when the Italians came and the Irish came and whatnot,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff was like, all that kind of stuff was like, hey, that's what allowed them to have that base.
Mhm.
But now it's like everybody wants to be like, hey, throw some say throw the baby out with the bathwater and all that kind of stuff. But I can understand an OG talking about, look, um, and I'm sure in Greek culture also. I'm sure Pete, you get around some old school Greeks or whatnot, and they talk about stuff, and it may not relate to you as much because you grew up for a good a lot of your life here and whatnot, and it's kind of, but you know,
Time out.
but
You forget I live with one, right?
I know that. I'm just saying, but you're here as well. I mean,
No,
you basically you've been able to see
oh
sort
yeah, I
of
want to
two
go to church,
sides of
bro,
the
all the
coin.
time, all the
Yeah.
time in church. I hear him talking about, in my time or this or that back in Greece, all this stuff. And I have turned around like, you're not in Greece, dude. How long? How long? Oh, I left in 1948. I'm like, yeah, you should have converted. Like, how many times I speak to Greeks who don't know even English yet, and they've been here for
Mhm.
40 years. Come on, get with the system. So I get what you're saying. I agree 100%. I'm sorry I got you off.
Nah, I mean, but that so I like I said, I can understand you wanting to preserve because again, when you're around it, like whatever, especially maybe like as an outsider, right? Like I said, I've been to ethnic events, and like I said, I can appreciate the visuals or the beauty or the togetherness. Like I said, I've been to Sierra Leone events, I've been to Nigerian events, I've been to Indian events, you know, and I you can see that that culture, you can see that history, you can see that that legacy there. But now the question is, especially for the kids who grow up here, is it still palatable for them, or can you do some sort of modification to it that allows some flexibility? Because at the end of the day, humanity's been able to get this far because of its ability to adapt. And so are certain things need to be adapted for the current time, or are you always going to insist, no, we got to go back to the old ways? And I hear that even with Americans, we need to go back to the old way we did things. Yeah, get the belt. They'll straighten everything out if you get the belt. I mean, I don't know if that's I don't know if that is the
I
way
will
we
agree
should
with you,
think,
Paul. I
you
don't
know?
think that is going to fix everything.
And I'm glad you said that because you matter how you see the line of questioning. I had this thin line of quit controlling my culture, and because I need to get clarity of what it considered to be right, what considered to be wrong. And
Mhm.
when I asked that question several times, and I noticed some people are afraid to give the answer, it let me know, okay, when you gonna let me know you have been gaslighting me for so long on this nonsense when you know what you're doing is wrong, it wasn't gonna work, but you still trying to convince me that it was gonna work, but it never gonna work to begin with.
Mhm.
Why can't you just be honest and so you can work together to get something better done?
Yeah, always constantly improving, you know? But again, the ability to in the military, I mean, Sparta, you know about the military, they always talk
Hmm.
about again, adapt, adjust, improvise. You know, not every situation is going to be perfect. You have to think outside the box. And I think for a lot of people, we have to start thinking about that even when it comes to parenting, when it comes to uh just how we or discipline or whatever. Does it have to be this mindset that just let's go back to the 19th century when it comes to things, and I just don't think that's a I don't think that's just a reasonable way
So
forward.
what I'm gonna say to this, I don't think beating a kid to the point there cannot sit down or whatever is gonna fix any problems. It is gonna cause more problems, I think. Do I think some things back in the day should come back because they make more sense? Yeah, I do. Like the old school way of dating, for example, not online dating. I think that's need to come back. Or I don't agree with I don't think firearm law, excuse me, I can't pronounce the fucking word. Firearm law work and the way they did back in the day worked better because there were less black on a black market firearms. But what I'm trying to say is some things will work from back in the day and come back. Some things won't. You got to be very careful. That's a very fine line or thread. I don't think we're going to ever go back to any of the old school. Where it's a dinosaur like David over here. And
You meant Pain. He's been there since ancient
That is
time.
true. Yeah, yeah.
Into
RP,
Noah
yeah.
Ark.
okay, okay,
Come
okay,
on.
okay, okay.
I
Our
told
pain
you.
has been around since God put the earth together. Happy.
Yes.
Man, I don't
But
like
how,
fucking
how
talking
how
about when
you
he's not
call
here to
me
defend
how you
himself.
call me ancient and I'm younger than Mr. Paul?
That is true.
Well, you got more hair than him, David. That is true too. But no, seriously, like, listen, David, you jump in here for a minute. Do you think going back in old times is going to fix anything?
Is that is a very conflicting question because if you look back at your time, you see how Mr. Paul Ben put the timestamp on different era of how society makes certain changes. If I would do the same exact thing concerning my folks and my people, there were things that I'm not sure it could have worked. We'll remove from history the Biafra War that happened before Independence Day. How my country sure almost became non-existent because of the three major tribes, which is very unique. And the fact that how in the world of my country one on very few could have or $500. I mean, we have multiple tribes in that country that's so jam packed, but yet people are on their way out there. The phrase called Japa. People want to leave the country, never want to come back due to far corrupt leadership. I've been trying to make sense of if we were to go back, what are we planning to keep? What are we planning to let go? I always ask myself, when I'm being a parent, it was no different from the same philosophy Mr. Paul Bennett had. Because remember I say the level of consistency, you hold the weight over your head. You want to make sure you don't stir to the left, to the right. You want to be consistent. I playing a day to the point where, but even your kid look like, yeah, daddy's born. He just always doing the same thing consistently. He's not going to change for nobody. But I like the fact that he keep me in check. So if you want to go back and do what? What are we going to take and accept? What are we not going to accept? I'm telling this is the question me and I try to reflect on. Okay, we don't do it. Then later on, you want to point blame. No, you made that choice. You made that decision. Live with it. How maybe are we teaching to live with their choices that they make, but don't complain about it. We live in a society. You don't want to hold them accountable. Be responsible. You got to point finger to something. You don't have to go home to actually stand up and be a man about it and take it like that. That is something. For I would say this is something I hang over my head for many years. This is why I keep myself in the mindset like I don't think I'm better than everybody. I just keep myself humble because there's so much you can learn and grow and progress from that. But it's all about how you process it.
Keyword is how you process it. And most people don't know how to process it correctly. And that's what we are. What is what we always have these conversations. Like the way Paul processed things, I got him credit. He really put time and effort in it. When you process things, it's different. The way I process things, I talk about things. That's how I process it. Everybody has their own way.
Yeah.
That is true. I didn't think I would show up for the show tonight because I was so disappointed what happened today. I was like, I need to be left alone in my rage. Just let me just
And sometimes that's not healthy either, Paul. I mean, David, I'm sorry.
I
Sorry, Paul, I
know,
didn't mean to offend you there.
I know.
What, something happened on another show or just something personal?
No, I was going through something. I had a setback. I had a
Oh,
nice
okay.
interview for a job. I thought I would have
Mm,
landed the job,
mm,
and for some reason it's not connecting. I tell you, not, I don't know. I was
mm.
trying to get a second job to the beginning of last year. That didn't happen. I got laid off, and I've been constantly on the phone Monday to Saturday trying to land something. Now I'm like, what gift? What is it? And now we're taking a vacation over 27 years and counting.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't collapsed yet.
Yeah. Yeah. How many kids you have in total, including your stepkids?
Step kid, that'll be three. Then grandkid, it'll be three total.
Don't forget about grandkids too.
No, that'll be the Ancient of Day. He had the Noah Ark to contain all of them,
David,
aka Ark.
we as your friends, we as your buddies, we as your brothers, we as your family, we do whatever we can to support you. Am I right, Paul?
Indeed.
And I
We can do
appreciate it.
whatever we can, but the problem is our hands are tied, and we feel like shit about that too. Actually,
No,
it's only so
I
much we can do.
understand. There's time I want to. Remember, I don't think I said it. There's the time I really want to give up on this because I just go back. I spoke to my uncle about it, and they man literally almost cursed me out in the text. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You're better over here than there. And I would think I'm better over there. I could care what suffering like I can deal with that because at least I have the insanity to deal with it. But this is not
Now, when
lot.
you say there, that's you by yourself or with your kids?
Good question. I'm
And don't
also
forget, you need
What
permission
did, and
from
what?
your.
Right, right. Obviously, and that's a custody thing and all that. But I'm just curious, like what is it like? Because I've never heard. I know you have a lot of Americans who move out. I know security boss obviously moved to South Africa and whatnot. But
no.
I'm just wondering if you have kids. I'm just curious as to what what life would be like there for a child of an immigrant to you know um, to try to raise kids and for all intents and purpose American kids
And I'm glad
in
you asked that.
Nigeria, like what that
I'm
going through
glad
like.
you asked that question because I'm watching a lot of single moms reaching out to the school to exit the country to go over there, and I find it's a culture shock first because You're uprooting a kid from an environment that so got accustomed to.
Hmm.
Everything is completely different from here to there. You have washing and dry, you have washing machine, you got all the utilities, all the essential, everything. Go to a place whereby a huge part have not existed yet, or it's coming but not in the abundant way you have over here. And you want to expose your kids something. It's not simple to do. Let you do it at a young age, not at a much adult year, because there will be a rebellion or a rejection like screw you, dad. You could have came here by yourself instead of taking us over here, kind of thing. But that may not be for a kid. Some kid will want to do that. Many others will be like, no. So believe me, it depends on the structure. It depends on the nation. I would honestly say if they're going to a school that have a high much level of education. For example, my country is run by the British. Then the British level of education put it far above the American level of education. So if you was in the ninth grade over there, it was more like just a three doing mathematics. It's equivalent to the same mathematical level or better than that of the 11th or 10th grade, which means you stepped ahead of them. So, and I would say this is totally true. You may not be able to afford private school here in this country, but you definitely able to put your kid in private school over there because of the currency exchange. It makes it easier, but there's a lot of prominent private schools that take care of international kids better than you can
Hmm.
imagine.
Yeah. You know,
So
one
yeah,
country I never hear
it
about
that
though
that's the
is
thing I'm concerned. It's a culture shock.
yeah.
Because you gotta think, you gotta actually when you were a kid, how you felt if you were taken from one environment and placed to another environment you're not accustomed to. How did you react? Too
Right.
many too many parents never think about that.
Hmm.
I have to think about putting myself in their shoe.
Right.
How would
So
I
you would
feel?
have to put your kids in an international school.
Mhm.
You couldn't just put them in a even if it's a private school, it has to be one that has some international students. So again, at least
Bingo,
there'd be that sense of, hey, I'm not here by myself. There's other kids from other countries. We're all kind of
bingo.
feeling the heat, or we're all kind of feeling the 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 it's like anything else. I mean, it's like you kind of find bonds with people who have a common, even though you may come from a different ethnicity or whatever. But again, you have a common thing because you are the outsider. So that is something that is that is worth thinking about.
David, I'll be honest with you. I'll be very fascinated. I have a whole episode about your background. You.
It'll be hard because I like to take my time break it down to piece by piece
It won't be in one episode. There's going to be like a couple
because
episodes, like I do with
no problem
CQ, Angry Elf,
remember I
and the other
mentioned
guys.
remember I mentioned earlier before the problem and their level. Ekene is like, and the fact that I spoke with Ekene a couple of times on the panel and realized the level of knowledge and information of history that was hidden from the textbooks in our school, in our country, and he was able to get hold of those information and much more. I wish I have those knowledge that he had. But there was so many things that I was asking questions. Some dots are not connecting. Why did it happen? Why did it happen? The Berlin conference. He understand the full detail of what was going on. Why they decided to not only to destabilize Africa as a continent, but to break it up to prevent unity in some kind of shape, form, fashion. How the French had multiple African countries on its thumb. Three of them break away completely. Three, one supposedly break off, but with almost time walk itself back. So you can imagine this is why we have what we have in the African continent because there were times they were united and it was posing as a threat to the Western world, which includes Europe and America.
Hmm.
And that was a big issue because if you don't keep the African continent un- unstable, you're not gonna make a profit. That what that was the number one big picture.
Yeah.
Because think about it, 98% of the natural resources that we use for our product come from one place and one place only, the African continent. If they were to widen and get modernized, we think what's going to happen when I start pricing that thing. So your $2,000 phone will be a $4,000 phone.
Hmm. But
Your
there was so
TV,
I think Paul will back me up on this. We'll love to have you on an episode, maybe on a gray area. What do you think, Paul?
Sure.
Yeah. Me and Paul will talk about it when we can bring you on, and we're gonna schedule it.
no problem. I'll talk
Yeah.
about these things because I had a good conversation with my uncle the other day, and it kind of like allowed me to think when I spoke to my cousin this morning, when I was spoke to since '97, and she shared some insight. It kind of funny. I did kind of like I had some kind of relief in a way, like whew, I still have my inheritance in Africa intact. I thought I lost, and I realized it was more for a different reason why I didn't get no access to it yet because something want to be done to make sure it make it better, so it generate a huge amount of money for the next legacy.
Hmm.
So in a way, I don't have to worry about, it, but still, I still need to do something for my end here. So kind of like mixed win lose situation I'm going through today, but just that I hate losing.
Well, you're not losing.
I
A step
know.
back. You come through this. We all will. But let's get into our final thoughts so I can do those schedule update and let's get the fuck out of here. How's that sound?
Okay. Let me
All
go
right.
final. I'll make it short for you. Final thoughts.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be straight with you. If you are still single, you don't have a kid yet, you're not a father yet, don't get mad with yourself. You still have a chance, but make sure you have a counsel who will stir you right and put in the right direction. Don't be quick to fall for any sweet mouth, lying tongue, pretty looks. It's not already the case. It's the ideology and the fundamental that help you build a strong parenting skill. That's my final thought.
No, just simple. Yeah, I could tell you we didn't get it done tonight. So hey, that's the way the ball bounces, and come back next time. But in any event, um, yeah, parenting. Again, this is not an exact science. There's some good wisdom. There's some guide rules, but again, I can't stress this enough. People really need to, especially if you're a person who's considering it. Don't just do it as a novelty. Don't do it because you think, okay, this is something that I have to do. Um, I think you need to weigh that decision seriously, and do things that don't lead to unwanted pregnancies. Um, I think those are just sound things. So certainly, if you're the woman, but again, guys, you guys need to zip it up too. If you're gonna go in and take that risk, and if you're not strapped up, if you're not ready to take that on, then don't put that on yourself to be a parent. When you're not ready for that. Um, my fundamental rule in everything is that again, children should be wanted, and yeah, I think if people start from that place, then I think that'll be a much better place for which to operate. And then again, the parenting and all those things you can certainly learn, you know, learn from others. I mean, there's information out there and whatnot, but again, your children are going to be your own, and it's certainly you're the one who's going to be responsible for the outcome. So you need to do what's best, based on what you're able to gather and learn from that. So yeah, I'm I just count myself very fortunate and blessed. My daughter, she just came in. She was in Vegas, visiting my sisters out in Vegas. She literally just got back, and again, every time they come in the door, I just say thank God, you know, because you just don't know. They go out there, you don't know if they're coming back or whatever. You just when they're out of your care. So for me, I really in these days, I think I lean on my faith more than anything, and I just thank God. Watch over them, protect them, cover them, um, and So anytime one of them comes in the house, anytime I hear that garage door opening, I say thank God. You guys might not hear it or whatever, but that's first thing that comes to mind. Thank God. So, um, I didn't do this by myself, and certainly, it does take a village in a lot of respects, and but without God, I don't think I could do this. So that's it.
Guys, thank you for coming up tonight. It was like, as always, an honor and a pleasure. Just think what my guy said, because these guys know more than I do. Well, out of these guys, I couldn't do the show today. But let's do a schedule update really fast. Guys, do me a favor, go check out the schedule, because I just uploaded the next 6 months up there. So I have the next 6 months posted for shows. As let's go to the show this week. For Saturday, we're talking about Vince McMahon, the man behind the empire. Yes, we are talking about the documentary this week, guys. So you guys both watched it, right? I know you did, Paul, right?
Yeah, I did. I might be late to that show. I do have a prior coming up. I may be late getting there, but I will.
God damn, man!
I'll try. The
That's
thing
fine, you
got
be late.
shuffled up, and it was like, oh man, I was trying to do something early in the day, and then the day kept getting pushed back, and it's like, so.
It's fine, dude. You can be late. It's fine. I got Paul Bear over here.
I wanted to
Now,
watch that documentary again the second time, but I was afraid to go back to it because I was like watching the first time. I wish we can bug Vince McMahon about parenting. How you survive your parenting?
hmm.
Because I know I would have lost my mind.
So on Saturday, make sure we say happy birthday to this young lady. I didn't know she's a November baby like myself. So my birthday's on November, the Black Friday this year.
Hey, well, shout out to the wife. My wife's birthday was today.
Happy birthday, Mrs. B.
Yeah. So that's part of why I'll be late on Saturday, but
I'm getting heat from her tonight down here. I'm like,
she's watching.
Man, shit.
She's going to be the ultimate guest, I think. And you get her on this space or whatever, or the gray or whatever, she's going to be the ultimate guest.
I would have just let her just jump in the panel and just say, "Hey, what's up?" I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
So Thursday it will be no show for two reasons. One, Thanksgiving. Two, the next day is my birthday, so I want to take 2 days off from streaming, just relax and not worry about anything. I'm sorry?
You deserve it.
Most likely, I don't think I'm going to get the day off. That's why I know somehow I'm going to get pulled in somebody's stream. It always happens. But on Saturday, the 30th, we are talking about Davis' favorite series. He's been so excited about this episode. He can't hold himself. He's so excited. He can't scream about it. Transformers. Look at his face.
We didn't talk about Transformers. I thought we did.
Dude.
Okay.
We flirted with it a little bit here and there. This whole show is gonna be about Transformers.
And I'm going to dissect. I'll call Jedi Mike. He might want to come here while I beat the crap out of the Transformers franchise.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna call whoever you know. Angry Elf said he was gonna try to come to the show. Doesn't know he's gonna be around. Because he travels all the time for work.
I do want to see Transformers 1. That I didn't get a chance to see it.
I didn't get a chance to see that yet. Because
I am going to watch it actually this weekend. Is on Paramount Plus for free.
Because I want to make sure if they really live up to the expectation how it's supposed to. Because everything before the Transformer 1 is like a pure disaster.
Yeah.
Because just like with the Paul Bennett, I grew up in watching Transformer and G.I. Joe and GoBot. Shout out to that cartoon that could not last against Transformer and many other childhood favorites back in the 80s. But Transformer goes way, way back. It was very, very iconic for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And
on this last comment,
movie,
so my birthday sometimes falls on Thanksgiving too, so I know you're paying there, girl. So let me continue going with the schedule. I'm going to go in a little bit more detail because it's because again there are more shows coming up. Now we're going to be resuming Thursday shows on the 5th, and we're going to be talking about how long should you wait before you have sex with your partner. And on the 7th, we're talking about David's other favorite series. I'm giving you 2 in a row, David. You know which one this is, right?
Right. I'll do what I can.
G.I. Joe.
The Rock destroyed that one too.
So I'm giving you 2 weeks, two in a row for you. So, Earthquake, aka Bear Paul. Anything in last comments?
Shout out to the original Earthquake BMU. How you doing? I heard
Jesus
it with
Christ.
I heard it with Equator in Texas, so I kind of felt the equivalent.
Anyway, Paul, anything?
I'm all good here.
As always, these are my guys. Earthquake, aka CBN, Black David, and Bear Paul, Mr. President, aka Mr. B. I am Ghost Spar. As always, stay fresh,